What is going on, guys? It is Ahmed and I am back today with yet another video for you all, and today we're going to talk about Senseonics, ticker symbol SENS, because this is a stock that actually really excites me. And yesterday I had a conversation with a drug rep that came to my pharmacy, and after our dialogue it kind of reignited and sparked my interest for CGM devices, because again he kind of gave me his perspective. He does work for a pharmaceutical company and he's a diabetes specialist. So before I dive into that, I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Dean Investing. So if you haven't already subscribed to this man, you really should, because he's actually one of my close friends, and he covered Senseonics back in January 14th. He put it on my radar. I bought in early on thanks to him. So if you're someone that's interested to see the medical side, or see the medical doctor perspective of certain healthcare stocks, he is your man. So again, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to Dr. Dean. And if you also would like 2 free stocks when you deposit $100, you can see here, this is the little Webull affiliate that I have. And you get, between $2.50 to $250 for just opening an account. And then you get another free stock between $8 and $1,600 for depositing $100. So go ahead, click the link right at the top of the description below. So check that out, get your free stocks, get your free money. So Senseonics, why am I talking about something that really has had, not the greatest price action, as overall penny stocks in the healthcare sector have gotten beaten down pretty well after mid-February. It was about $5.27, and it's pulled back 51% since then. So Senseonics price action is not very, it's not super interesting. It doesn't really make it something that's very appealing as of right now to most people. But I want to talk about some things that we touched on during my dialogue again with that drug rep. So again, as you guys know, I have been doing a 1K to 10K penny stock challenge. Let me make my screen a little smaller, very small for now. But as you could as you could see, Senseonics is on our portfolio. So our price, our entry point was at $3.54. Thinking that was a good entry point, which it was, because that was a support line. It broke that support, so we're down actually 24% from our initial investment for the 1K to 10K challenge. So the current price action, or the current price for Senseonics, is $266. So why am I bringing this one up? It is part of my main portfolio as well, so I'm actually invested quite heavily in Senseonics because I believe in CGM devices. But I want to kind of talk about why it excited me. So when he visited me, he told me about some of the things regarding some of these other insulin type products. Of course, as a drug rep, he talks to us to hopefully get some products out there to patients, to sell them, etc. But the thing that really interested me, let me make my screen just a bit bigger now, is the fact that he mentioned the ADA, the American Diabetes Association, and the standards of care. So if you don't know, the ADA is kind of the mainstay. Remember, guys, my channel is not for financial advice, nor am I doing this for any medical advice. But I'm just trying to put you guys on the place that I am in, and give you access to some of the information that I receive. So the American Diabetes Care, or the American Diabetes Association, is just a hub for all things diabetes. You can look at certain guidelines that are and this is something that is written by a big team of people who have devoted their entire lives to diabetes. So this is where we know about, what are A1C targets, the average blood glucose, where do we want it to be? This is a very good place. This is the mainstay for most of that information. But the thing that's interested me that he mentioned is that continuous glucose monitoring is now, it has a dedicated section in the ADA. So every year they add, there's addendums that they add to the standards of care. So they added continuous glucose monitoring devices and some of the things that they see as benefits. The thing that really excited me is the fact that CGM devices, so continuous glucose monitoring devices, are going to be more widely adopted. We know that's a fact because, again, the standards of care currently are pricking your finger, checking your blood sugar, getting your reading, recording that, and then you do that on a day-to-day basis as a diabetic, either type 2 and more so for type 1s, because they for sure have to check their sugars because, again, their pancreas is not functioning. Therefore, they don't have any insulin secretion, so they're dosing themselves, checking the sugar, dosing themselves, checking the sugar, or vice versa. Check the sugar first, then dose. But regardless, the fact is that the fact that the ADA is putting this on their guidelines, they're saying that we're trying to change, and the conversation we had was about A1C. So if you don't know, by definition, an A1C, for anyone that's a diabetic, you know what that is. That is your average blood sugar reading over a 90-day period. So again, for people who aren't diabetic, typically we see numbers less than 5. If you are diabetic, maybe numbers 5.5, 6, 6.5, above that. So A1C has been the standards of care. That is a number that we look at. We assess it to see how well controlled someone's blood sugars are. Are you within the A1C that is recommended to, keep your kidneys healthy, keep you from having, any type of diabetic complications, a heart attack, right? We know the higher the A1C, the worse outcomes typically occur for a patient. The lower the A1C to a certain point is better typically. Now, the thing about it is A1C again is that it is just an average blood sugar reading. The thing that they want to start looking at, and more and more literature is coming out, and you could read in the diabetes ADA, the American Diabetes Association Standards of Care, they state that we want to switch to something called time in range. So from A1C, the average blood sugar, to time in range. How long and how often is a patient in the threshold that is set forth by the guidelines? How long are they actually within that range? Because average, you could have numbers, again, blood sugar readings, typically for normal, it's between 70 and 120, 110. But again, that could fluctuate. Again, I'm just giving you guys ballparks. If you're someone that's averaging around 110, say, 120, 130, pretty good. For a diabetic, that is very good actually. Now, that's your average. What if that means you have numbers in the 500s, numbers in the 70s, right? You have these high blood sugar readings and low blood sugar readings. If you put two patients next to each other, one patient with fantastic, with a great A1C, and another that has maybe a very similar A1C, put them next to each other, oftentimes they don't look the same. One looks like they maybe are not doing as well as the other, and that could be because, and more likely that could be attributed to the fact that that person is not in range. That person is someone who fluctuates but averages about the same as the other, which is something we don't want, because again, we know that typically people have worse outcomes if they're not in that range of that window. So now, to get to the point, what does that mean for CGM devices? The only way to really track, realistically, to track how a patient is doing on a 24-hour period is through CGM, continuous glucose monitoring. And that's what excites me about any CGM devices. Specifically, we know that Senseonics has competitive advantage over Dexcom, because again, they don't only have Dexcom is 2 weeks at a time you're changing out your sensors. For a CGM like Senseonics, that one, we're looking at a 90-day, 180-day potentially, 90 days at a time that someone can just continuously look at their blood sugar reading, have that information sent to your provider, and then they could see how often are you in range versus not. And if you're not in range, okay, we need to of course pivot and figure it out. Instead of just looking at A1C, looks pretty good. All right, we'll see you back in 3 months. We'll see you back in 6 months, whatever it might be. So guys, that is my spiel for you today about Senseonics. Again, right now, since it's all-time high at 527, down 51%, we might have good entry points. Let's open up Stock TA quick, and let's look at the SESN. No, that's SENS. There we go. Let's look at the potential better entry points for Senseonics. So we know we have support at $2.53 a share. We also have support at 99 cents a share and 40 cents a share. Those are very, very solid support lines that we've hit before, bounced off of them, because again, it looks like the stock is trying to, it's been consolidating lately. If we look at even the 1 month chart here, it's been kind of up and down, but again, between 329 and 258. So it doesn't look like it actually is consolidating whatsoever. Just a lot of fluctuation. I'm looking from the beginning of March, so about up 4% over the month, because again, a lot of the overall market for penny stocks and the healthcare stocks specifically were hit pretty hard. So for SENS, maybe it's a good time to buy in, but a better entry point might be around 253 versus where it is right now at 258. But we're getting pretty close to that support line, so that's why I wanted to bring it up today. Maybe it's a good thing to potentially invest in the near future. Maybe on Monday when the market opens. 99 cents would be a better entry point, but is it going to pull back that far? It really hasn't all year after it had its run up, right? We found that strong support around 248, bounced off that, and now we're approaching that again. So potentially a good time to consider buying Senseonics. So if you haven't already, Please hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I really appreciate all the support that you have been giving me. I know I've been covering Zomedica very heavily, but I'm hoping to start including other companies as well that I'm looking at. And one thing I do want to mention, going back to the 1K to 10K challenge, look at predictive oncology. It had a really good day on Thursday. Myself a little smaller. Look here. We're up about 18.18% on the day, 21% on the day, a little bit down on the aftermarket. So again, still down about 13% from our initial investment, but it had a very nice run up on no news. So maybe some more people are starting to adopt it. A whale might have bought in, etc. But keep Senseonics on your radar. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, everybody, keep investing.